Video interviewing is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It is par for the course in the interview process right now. So even if you've done video interviews already, or you have a few coming up, here is my top 10 list of things to know for the video interview. Why take my word for it? Well, I'm Jeremy Nichols. I'm a full-time headhunter and recruiter, and I've been in the industry for over 20 years. Most of it on the corporate side, and most recently on the headhunter third-party firm side. And I've done thousands of interviews, and I've made this channel and these videos just for you. Okay, so let's get into it. My top 10 things to know for the video interview. And my first thing that you should know is do a trial run. When I say do a trial run, I mean download the software early. There are so many different apps, so many different pages, and so many different links that might be coming to your inbox from that potential employer. You do not want to be fumbling around, making sure that it's running smoothly, making sure your camera is connected or your microphone is connected right before the interview. That is unnecessary drama and unnecessary stress that you definitely do not want to go through. Now, my second tip is lighting. Now, lighting is very important, and a lot of people do not pay enough attention to it. So, a couple things to think about with lighting. Make sure you have plenty of lighting in front of you, never behind you. Do not sit somewhere with a window behind you. It's going to make the picture look awful. Make sure you have plenty of lighting on and it's not too dark in the room that you're in, because that will turn the picture pixelated and make it look blurry and not really in great definition. And if you don't have good lighting in your setup, you don't have enough lights or overhead lighting or windows in that room, maybe try doing a setup outside that looks professional. Nothing beats daylight, and if you can be outside somewhere where it looks professional and there's not a lot of sound or cars flying by, I would suggest doing just that. Making sure that it's clean, presentable, organized, and you're taking advantage of that daylight. Whatever the case may be, do think about lighting and do not make it an afterthought. Think about it when you're doing your trial run and make sure you're looking at it from all angles. Okay, before I go into my tip number 3, please like this video if you enjoy the content. If you find it valuable, if you're a job seeker, or if you just are into understanding what is going on in the job market, please subscribe to this channel. Every single week, I'll be updating this channel with new videos and new content. Please ring that notification bell for weekly updates, and I look forward to continuing to make these videos. I do it for you, the candidate, and I hope they are valuable to you. My third piece of advice is stay organized. Make sure everything in that frame looks clean and organized. Reduce the clutter, remove the cords, remove the mess. Just make sure that the optics of your picture look clean and professional. Now let's talk about the fourth thing to think about, and that is the optics. What the interviewer is going to see when they look at you, and make sure that you are positioned center in the video. Now, there's a lot of strange angles that I've seen in interviews. I've seen some that have a ton of space from the top of their head to the top of the frame. I've seen ones where they're looking up the interviewer's nose, or maybe it's shaking. Whatever the case may be, you want to make sure that the camera is sitting still, you're centered in the frame, and you're looking directly at the interviewer. You want to make sure that there's not too much space above your head and you're not at some bizarre, strange angle when you're talking to the interviewer. Now, tip number 5 is being prepared and having everything that you need in front of you. Make sure that if you have notes, that you have your iPad or your notepad in front of you during the interview, and make sure that you have your resume nearby, just so you have it easily accessible in case the interviewer decides to reference it or ask some questions about it. You're not fumbling around looking for it. Tip number 6 is have water. Yep, it sounds like something that is common sense, but you would be surprised at how many people during a face-to-face interview refuses to take the water. And when you're in a video interview, how many people have had that dry throat, have had hiccups, or just had that uncomfortable silence? I can't recommend having water nearby enough. Tip number 7 is keep everything closed. If you are not using your cell phone, turn it off. That's just another distraction. If you're on your laptop or your desktop, make sure any extra apps are shut down. Close all the windows, your email. If you have Messenger open up, close that too. You do not need any distractions when you are face to face with your interviewer. So close everything. Tip number 8 is punctuality. Make sure that you sign in early to the interview. Most video interviewing platforms have waiting rooms, so you don't have to worry about signing in early and having that uncomfortable silence with the interviewer sitting there. Most interviewers and most hiring managers will sign on right at that time, but I would suggest definitely at least 5 minutes early, sign in and hang tight and be ready. Tip number 9 is look directly into the camera and not onto the monitor. Now, this is the most difficult thing to do for me in a video interview because naturally I want to look at the hiring manager and I want to look at the person who I'm speaking to. But just know when you're speaking, the eye contact is going to be into the camera. That's why I keep on pointing directly at you. I'm looking directly into the camera and it gives the illusion that I'm looking directly into your eyes. Now, this is something that's going to be very hard to navigate where you're doing it the entire time if you don't do this all the time like I do. So just be aware of it. And when you're answering your questions, look into the camera as much as possible. And if it's an extra distraction, just remove the panel that has your image away. A lot of times we're just looking at our picture on the side. We're looking to see if our hair is okay, if our shirt is okay, if the background's okay. And that is just a ton to think about when you should be focusing on the interview. So a lot of the apps, you can close the window, close the gallery, close the image, move it away, and focus just on the interviewer and the camera. And my number 10 tip, this one's gonna sound a little silly, but just hear me out on this one. Wear pants. I know we get a little cozy. We have pajama pants on sometimes, some shorts when we're doing the interview, and you think it's okay because you're only showing breastplate up and it looks professional. And what does the interviewer know? Well, if you have an emergency, say your doorbell rings and UPS is here and you have to sign, or your dog's barking, or your child's yelling, and you just have to jump up for whatever the case may be, that's not going to look like you really took the interview seriously. It's super simple. It's something to just be prepared about. Just make sure that you're thinking about this during your interview and put the pants on. Okay, that was it. That was my top 10 tips for video interviewing in 2021 and beyond. And hopefully this video helped, and hopefully it helps you nail that next video interview. If you have any questions or you want to do a deeper dive into the content that I shared, please feel free to ask me questions or write a comment in the comment section below. I get back to anybody who messages me. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn and shoot me a DM, and you can email me at jeremy@geckohospitality.com. With all that said, thank you again for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you have a great week. See you later.